Reporting live with the MK Ultra operational paperclip disciplinary action when the employer's coherent point of view. And when you're coherent, running around for a purpose and not just running around for the hell of it, it's a coherent employer and a narrator that's certified. When you have certifications and you just happen to just quote a real coherent quotations that's bona fide and certified with the FCC, and it just happens to be an employer and a certified coherent employer, and what it is NYDC and the PDs yesterday. And substantially reporting live with the LA LLC. Bye-bye, yesterday it was, and substantially that's right. And the MK Ultra LAQUAN DEVOTA HARRIS, Rothschild, Rockefeller, Harris, the employer's coherent narrator. When there's a merger, and it's a merger, her, MERGER, and the PDs yesterday, it's the copyright, and copyrights, like I said before, and trademarks for the NYDC. Now, when you have the Voters Corporation, and you have a little W-2 and a few of a couple of a bunch of, W-2 city working employees that work comfortable, real comfortable in St. Luke's, bye-bye. And substantially the narrator who does not babysit and cry over spilt milk and discriminates on the criminally insane. You have yesterday, LLC, the non-for-profit. Then the organizations like St. Luke's, bye-bye. Then you have like Rikers Island, hey, and that's real, the coherence way to devote to hey, corporation. And when it's FEMA, that's when I don't play, and Adolf Hitler, we don't play at all, discriminate. Then you just so happen to have the copyrights and trademarks substantially with the FCC and not a LLC. When it's Lestat, me, LA, Laquan, LA, and apostrophe capital Q, is the coherent mentality. When you have yesterday and yesterday indeed, that's what it was. In past tense, when the merger is today, is a DeVota Corporation. We don't play, and that's real. And what I said, if I meant what I said, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean, is the FCC. And when you're just certified, not just with them, is the employer with coherence and the narrator, that's real. Reporting live with the NYDC and copyrights for the Voters Corporation. Because when you just have that, oh, how cute, you've read a book and the narrator quote, DeVotamicrosoft, FEMA, Rikers Island. DeVota Mount Sinai Human Resources Administration. The merger. NYDC, because substantially the PD is punks. And when you have a punk rock and a demonic individual that needs the help, and the help is on the way with the coherent employers, and anybody on a level of a P pumpkin or a punk in a demonic level, and requires, like Depakote House on Ativan, substantially is what you get, is your referral. Because if it's a level of a punk and that P, like pumpkin head, and a pump and a pimple, is to get treated. When you have a DeVota and a corporation, como estas, hola, and the Labor Day coherent segment is a foreign entity and a federal government takeover. Any employee shaking their gums in my building, on camera, violating the policies, and I gotta deal with you as a long-term acute care status for like an infirmary. Reporting live when you just wanna die in the infirmary. You have the DeVota, FEMA, Rikers Island infirmary, you can die. You got the D, save the best for when you're dead. You have NY DeVota's Corporation and the SUV Escalade Hummer, and a coherent narrator who keeps it real. Then you have an employer here with the Devota Police Fraternal Enterprise and Merchants Corporation. So there you have it. You have read a book, but because substantially is the merger segment for the disciplinary action, when you have coherent, productive narrator and employers that does things logically, logical and coherent, there is a coherent mentality. Well, till next time is what you do. Read a book. Reporting live from NYC and the Devota's Corporation's point of view aspect employer segment narrations and the narrator himself. Till next time is what you have done. Continue reading those books, because it's just to get better when you can remember what you read. And when you read a book and you remember you read the book that's substantially not a fiction and not a lies of a whole bunch of propaganda, and this is a conspiracy, and the difference between the theory, it is not a theory, and then you have perhaps read a book that's not a novel. It's a dictionary, it's an encyclopedia, then you're making progress. When you're able to get 100% on a 3-paragraph essay, you're able to come first place in a marathon. You're able to be at your A game and great on a level of greatness and not good. And the words that come out of your mouth substantially is not, I'm good, you good, I'm like a big water bug and roach trying to levitate. If you on a level, reported live with the incoherent segment for a coherent narrator with the hex and subliminal messages to coherently discipline in a disciplinary action. And if you want a level of good and that comes out your mouth, there's no need to blame anybody. The choices you choose and the things you do. Crying out for help, seeking attention, boundary impaired, agitated, on the street for your purposes. There's double coat, Haldol, and Ativan. There's places like the infirmary where you want to go. You're crying out for help. There's a long-term acute care and a recap. Devota FEMA Rikers Island, Devota Mount Sinai Human Resources Administration, and when you have a referral, that's the admissions department. And then since it's the D and substantially NYDC and NYPD is yesterday, it's the dead, you will die. Like I said, dead to rights, you will die in the infirmary. Keep it in mind, the infirmary has over 800 beds. So when there's over 800 beds in the infirmary, when you want to die and you asking to die and it's long-term acute care and your last step is in the infirmary, you will die. And that's the yesterday's NYPD and the merger today NYDC. When you have the Devota's Corporation, when you're devoted to loyalty, coherence, and greatness. That's substantially the Laquan Devota Rothschild Rockefeller Harris segment for the coherent narrator. Well, till next time is what you do. Continue showing your true colors, because when you're coherent and not on a good level and you're substantially on a great level, and the words that come out of your mouth is not, you good, I'm good. No, it's great and greatness, everything higher than a 10 and substantially, because when you're on a level of greatness and coherentness, or it's just something not stupidity, pity and petty and stupendous, you're on a level of a behavioral health concern is what you do. If you have read a book and you made progress, it's substantially what you've done. But however, if the narrator is a coherent narrator, that's me. And if the narrations is copywritten, that's what it is. If there's trademarks for the narrations and the narrator and copyrights, that's what it is. And if it is copyright infringement, that's what it is. Recap, when you have the civil hate crime and murder, the defamation of character, and it's all on camera. Great! They're great. When you have security, employer, treasurer, president, secretary of security, surveillance, and technology, AI, Tyrone Jones, that's my father. Then when you have the fraternal organization, real estate corporation owner, treasurer, president, secretary, chief executive officer, that's me. When you have individuals or plural on the camera, showing true colors, expressing yourself on my camera, and we gotta review it, whether it's an audio or recording, you making phone calls, you calling people, I'm calling people, you're being recorded. What do you know? You're crying out for help if you're abusing authority, because I guarantee you, this narrator, this employer, these employers, criminal court judge, Tara A. Collins, my aunt, she's the employer. You got criminal court judge, Bronx judge, Tara A. Collins, my aunt, she's an employer. You got Tyrone, minister, Tyrone, surveillance and security, surveillance and recording at all divisions of security, surveillance, engineering and manufacturing, surveillance company, corporations, Tyrone Jones, employer and owner. Then you have his son, the real estate, myself, real estate corporation owner, and fraternal organization owner, myself, treasurer, president, secretary, and chief executive officer, me. Then, as the narrator with the certifications and a plural, the singer, the actor, the singer, the actor, the model, the entrepreneur, and because the FCC and the team is substantially what it is. It's not a joke, it's a copyright and trademark, and it's the hex. Don't forget about the team that's not babysitting the criminally insane or discriminating on the behavioral concern. Then you got the technical technicians. Then you got LaFare, correction officer LaFare, my cousin. You got correction officer Captain Horton. Also, when you have Captain Horton, my cousin, correction officer Sherelle Weiss, that's my cousin. Then when you have Khadijah Harris, study at Rikers Island, it's at DeVota FEMA Rikers Island. When you have a higher title than a special victims detective, it just happens to be a higher title than a psychologist and a psychiatrist. When you have Dr. M.D. Lisa Evans, that's my aunt. And for the record, when you have a substantial mouth almighty of coherence, Shakespeare, Vivaldi, Mozart, and opera, and Beethoven, it's all the coherent voice of coherence. And because when you have DeVota FEMA Rikers Island, that's mine. When you have an employer, that's the treasurer, president, secretary, and agent, contractor. Whoa, LAQUAN DEVOTA, what do you know? Rothschild, Rockefeller, what do you know? Daniel Hudson Harris, what do you know? Jones, me. Then, when you have the fraternal organization and the mind control expert, and then, like I said, what do you know? The hex is substantially what it is. Then when you have the mind control, the hex, and the premeditated state, and then you have the chemical imbalances around you, it's all that you have is surrounding the implemented and the premeditated situations where we get experience, we get knowledge. What am I saying? The knowledge that the employers provide, the training we go through, the training, the working substantially, coherently with the team, education, high school, college, certificate programs, getting certified. Then you do your job reputably, bona fide, substantially according to policies. When you have policies and you're able to follow them, that's how it's all premeditated. See, when I answer questions like premeditations of coherent mentalities, it's a graduate, get certified, enjoy your job, follow policy, follow protocol, make progress, and then after making progress, you have accomplished great success. And it's all for the records. When you have making progress, And then, like, say when you have substantially things notarized, right? You have things notarized now. When the notarizations come in, that's how the cookie crumbles. Because when the cookie crumbles substantially, check this out. You have W-2 city working employees that decide to get comfortable when the behavioral health concern is at a level of a danger to yourself and others. Is substantially the details, and from what I witnessed on the cameras at Rikers Island, 1, Mount Sinai, 2, St. Luke's, New York Presbyterian, the 40th Precinct, 32nd Precinct, 71st Precinct, 72nd Precinct, you have employees, provocative, obnoxious, and showing and expressing their whole comfort zone of manipulation and getting over. But it adds up. And the more what I'm saying about the abuse of authority, I just really don't believe that I can feel comfortable lying under oath, testifying, giving false statements. And of course, that's what these individuals are doing. Like, you have officers, city workers getting together, violating constitutional laws, and doing things on camera like sexually provocative, aggressive, obnoxious, criminal acts, stealing. And because it's recorded, how logically is you're able, they think they could get away with it. But because I have a confident level of dealing with it, I know they've been stealing from a corporation whose they, Mount Sinai, St. Luke's, the 42nd Precinct, everybody I mentioned, all these companies. And because this is a big update segment for the coherent segment, where I'm just having the foreign intent corporations, detectives, and investigational military units, and higher official authorities investigate the criminal acts on camera, because there's a lot of money involved, a lot of stolen money and abuse of authority and aggressive sexual abuse on camera. So when I have rights to view the camera and authorizations to subpoena and see this footage, it's very, very disturbing. And then if I hear these individuals express themselves by saying they don't care, it's just not appropriate, because I just know what you're going to say that now, and you said it before. These people are saying things like, I don't care, I don't care. And they're very aggressive and obnoxious and provocative. But keeping in mind, I'm aware of where it's coming from. Their chemical imbalance. If anyone is at a narcissistic level, like going to work, and things that come out of their mouth is really, when they get asked a question, they throw their narrative and shrug their shoulders and ask a question over that. The narrative, logically, your self-conscious, manipulative gestures is going to get you the help you need, because everybody is not going to babysit someone that's obnoxious and just get angry and agitated when someone is crying out for help. Like these individuals that I'm speaking about working for the 71st Precinct, the 72nd Precinct, all these people involved with sexually provocative mentalities, hate crimes, sex crimes, and hate crimes, and theft, money laundering, abusive authority, theft, trespassing, and aggressive, provocative, manipulative, narcissistic agitation, manipulative behavior, assault, stealing money, laughing, showing behavioral health concerns of narcissistic mentalities, and it happens to be sexually provocative. All these employees are under major investigation. This is. I mean, when you have a conspiracy charge, I mean, it's just, and to think about the real facts, details about the evidence. Like, you have cycles of the same manipulative crimes repeated over and over and over. False testimonies, theft of money, NYPD's giving false testimonies, chasing, touching, humping, kissing, all this stuff, touching people, taking people places, and trying to laugh it off and trying to justify it with a sexual provocative mentality. I know they tried it on me, but because I don't have a criminal history, I don't have a psych history, I'm an employer. When you are abusive authority and a danger to yourself and others, and the more what I'm saying about today's segment for the holiday segment for the Labor Day, this is the Labor Day segment for the New World Organizations, MK Ultra, LAQUAN Harris, is cycles of narcissistic mentalities that are federal and criminal indictments ability, like probable cause. It just is basically, I'm an employer. So if I'm an employer, I'm going to make sure that I get not agitated, but I'm going to make sure I just stay calm. So I have my team. That is the investigational team, and teams like my legal team, my lawyers. Just, they get paid, but they get a higher salary. It's just, what do I have to worry about? Even when I spoke to my mother, like, my mother said, "Laquan, you have nothing to worry about. Like, you've been working as an employee for United Healthcare. You used to work for Medicare Inc. You moved on. You got a residency degree. You had a master's degree. You majored in writing and philosophy was your major. Then you got a residency degree. You took a route that you took, but keep in mind, Laquan, I'm your mother, and you have a team. Your team that trains you and your certificates that you received through training, you got trained. It's not like nothing was given to you. You earned it. You studied. You qualified, because when you always, my child, you are always intelligent, but because you can listen and you can pay attention, we understand that people are a little envious, and they are envious because they can't accomplish what you're able to accomplish. So don't worry, my child. You have nothing to worry about. And I remember when my mother said that to me, I was so humble, because my mother's a very great lady. And for her to understand that I'm not upset, and I told her, how could I blame myself? I did nothing wrong. You have people that are crying out for help. They're very psychologically provocative and narcissistic. I don't have those elements. So if I get touched inappropriately, I can brush my shoulders off, report it, move forward, forget about those people that, anyway, if I have been through it before, yes. But when I have preliminary evidence and documentations, yes. PDF evidence, send it to the authorities. Do my part. It's being investigated. Hate crime, defamation of character, merger cases, civil, cases that I have. But hey, if they can't control themselves, you have narcissistic individuals that have a chemical imbalance, going to work, provocative, manipulative, violating the law at work, and then I'm an employer. Hey, they're going to be investigated. They're going to get dealt with, because once any of these individuals at a level, I feel like they're so comfortable they could just violate my constitutional rights and just think they can get away with it. At this point, I was told by my authorities, like criminal court judge Terry Collins, even though she was my lawyer when she was my lawyer Terry Collins, she's a judge now, but because she won that case, when false accusations, you got the whole jury in Brooklyn, the whole jury team trying to indict me, trying to just say, oh, it's just all about money. When you got the sheriff's department driving me, talking about, oh, Mr. Harris, it's all about money. Who are you to sit there, you a man, gonna tell me, yeah, I know, it's all about money, laugh in my face. But after that, you end up stealing checks from me in Rikers Island, Steal my checks? Yeah, you stole my checks right down. They very abusive. They're nasty. These men, you got, people stealing money out my pocket. You officers chasing, ripping my clothes off of me, officers. And now, that's how you feel. You comfortable. You want to. My lawyers, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. I'm going to deal with it. And I'm going to make sure these docket numbers, everybody that wants to lie and steal and touch and sexually provocative is going to go to my facility. That's it. A long-term acute care. Like I said, there's no reason for me to be agitated, angry, and mad when I don't have those elements. I would never do that to anybody as kids. Anyway, till next time, stay focused, stay logically locked, enjoy the show, because it ain't over till the fat lady sings. I love my job. I'm a reputable, bona fide, successful, coherent employer / great narrator. So, keep it locked. Reporting live with the MK Ultra, LAQUAN Harris. Mind control, disciplinary action, Operation Paperclip.